Good morning again, Bulldogs, for the last episode of Step by Step of Your Senior Defense. This again is the checklist slide, and we're going to be looking at the last three check boxes that you see. So if you see here down at the bottom, we're looking at creating your presentation and making sure you have what you need in there. Then we're looking at recording your presentation once that's ready, and then contacting your defense panelist. Let's get started. And here we are creating the defense presentation slide deck. If you remember on the showcase portion, there's an area where you link your slide deck that you make for your presentation. So that's the first step, is creating this presentation. We're saying use Google Slides. It stays in your Google Drive, and it's easy to connect to all these things since they all live in the Google world. If you want to use a different format for some reason, contact your panelist about that. Most likely they'll say yes, but we just want some more information on what you're thinking about that. Make sure your presentations include the following components, all right? An introduction. Tell us about you, your background, activities you enjoy, accolades. Many teachers or your panelists may not have gotten to know you like many of your teachers and your peers do. So this allows us to get a bigger picture about who you are as a person, not only just as a student. Okay, then we go to artifact 2, artifact 1, which folder it is, what you learned, how it prepared you for after high school, or why is this one of your learning trophies in your trophy case. The same with artifact 2, which folder, what you learned about it, how it prepared you for high school, or why was it important to you and shaped you during your time here at Mayo. And then character artifact is the third artifact. Remember, it must come from the character folder, the school signature folder. And again, what you learned, how it prepared you, why did it make an impact? There's lots of different directions you can go with that. Your post-secondary plan needs to be in there. What's your plan when you graduate from high school? Do you already know where you're going to school? Do you already know what program of study you're going to be doing? You may not know. If you don't know, show us your options that you're thinking about. Your panelist and scorer just really wants to know that you have a plan of what you're doing. If that plan is, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think maybe this. Give us your maybes if you're not sure. Again, we want to see where your direction is once you leave Male High School. And then finally, conclusion and answering of questions. All right. First, you will end it. You don't just need to say, and I'm done. All right. Look up or ask some teachers for help, perhaps, or you can even email me personally if you're having trouble with a good conclusion. It doesn't have to be really fancy or anything like that, but you need to wrap up the concept. Okay. And then there are answering of questions. And when we go to the next slide, we're going to look at those answering of questions. And before we move to that slide, take again a good look at what should be in these components. If you think back to this previous slide, again, your one-page reflection, really, you should have already written about most of this. That's why we have you do that reflection. So the concept of this has already been done. You did it here in your reflection. Now you're building a slideshow that you are going to present and record to get those ideas from that reflection to your scorer and panelist. So, creating the slide deck, all right? And this is the conclusion and final slides, all right? You will have questions that you need to answer at the end. We're asking people to give 3 questions, okay? Now, 2 of them are already here. And these links, here's a document to the questions you can choose from. Here's a video that gives an explanation about that. Feel free to click into that. But every senior at the end of their presentation, and please put in a slide for this. That would be wonderful. Conclude your presentation and then make another slide that says answer to questions. The questions themselves aren't scored like the presentation, like format, grammar, but we still want to know your answers. So number 1, select the staff member that has an influence during your years at Male and explain their importance. And that can be anyone that works at Male. We've even had some people choose coaches or assistant coaches that may not work at Male as a teacher or as an administrator, but they are part of the Male family. That's absolutely fine. Number 2, looking back over your years at Male. Would you have done anything different or describe the legacy that you're leaving behind? Sometimes this one stumps students. Don't get stuck here. Sometimes a person's legacy is, you know what, I was there for people when I needed to be. And I hope that's a legacy people remember me by. All right. It doesn't have to be crazy. But if you do have something that jumps out of you of, I was the leader of this club and we did this, and I think I left a legacy of, etc. So think about that question, but don't get stuck on it. Think about you, your personality, and what you feel like you've contributed at Male. Even if only a few people know that contribution, it may be only a few teachers and close friends that know really what your mark was at Male, and that's absolutely fine. The third question is a one question of your choice from a presented artifact folder. Okay. Now we will drop in a little point that we'll look at those questions and give an example. But notice that's a total of 3 questions to be answered at the end, and answering them does earn you some points. I'm not so much worried about your answers and the quality. I mean, we want them to be quality answers, but the length of them. Again, don't get stuck on the questions. Go with what you think, answer the questions, and you'll be fine. Once that slide deck is complete, you do need to attach it to your showcase in that one little spot. Okay. That big box at the top, I think it's on the right side. It will ask you, or it has a place where you can upload this when you're finished. Okay. Now let's look real quick at this document for the questions. Now we already said these 2. Notice each senior will ask these following 2. But now you need to just choose one from an artifact. So for example, everyone had to do a character artifact. So you could answer one of these 3 questions about your character artifact. Let's say you had a prepared and resilient learner artifact in your presentation. You could answer one of those. We're saying that whatever category your 3 artifacts came from, choose just one, not one for each artifact, the top 2 questions, and then one more for a total of 3. Now, some quality points about your presentation slide deck. Make sure that you include photos, videos, sound in your presentation. We want to see and hear your amazing work. We want to make sure that we are fully immersed in what you're trying to show us. So if you have photos from your artifacts, if you even have videos of performances or other things for your artifacts, if you're a musician, or you've done some other types of recordings of sound that you feel like are important, or even if you want to include some sound effects or anything else just to liven up your presentation, please do get creative. Another note here, whenever you're adding anything to your presentations or your showcase, make sure your settings are set to anyone can view. Anyone can view. If that's done, your panelist or scorer will not have to contact you once you let them know it's ready. We'll be able to see everything, give you a score, and let you know how you did. Otherwise, it may delay you getting a score because your panelist will have to ask you, hey, can you fix those share settings on this? Or the video won't let it play because it's blocked due to the share settings. So remember, set everything to anyone can view if you're going to add it to your presentation and or your showcase. Now, when you do your recording, please play your videos. All right. Make sure your sounds play. Even if you want to, you're doing this in-person presentation in a way, but recording it, feel free to stop the presentation and include a video of you playing your instrument or singing your song or a piece from when you were in a play. Incorporate that in and let us see those things. All right. Make that part of your presentation. You can look online for Google Slide themes, or if you're really good at designing those kinds of things, create one of your own. Google Slides kind of comes with its small little set of ones that you can pick from. Just do a Google search and you will find a plethora, a ton of things that you can do to maybe make them a little bit more snazzy and make it more you. We want even your slides to represent you as a student and you as a person. All right. So have fun with that part. And the last kind of suggestion here, don't fill your slides with wall-to-wall words. All right. Your slides should be full of visuals and talking points, basically photos, videos, sounds, and then bullets of things or quotes and things like that. We don't want your senior reflection to just be cut and pasted into a presentation, because that's a whole page of words that you wrote. We want you to be able to talk about those things. You may be concerned about, well, I don't really know about that. I'm not comfortable. Remember, you're recording this just like I'm recording this to you now. So you can have off to the side. Your face does not have to be in the corner if you don't want it to. You can have your notes off to the side to talk about your presentation as you go through it, but just using succinct points to keep the viewer on track with you while you're going further into the details with your notes off camera. All right. That's what many people do. That's kind of how it works, especially if you have the luxury of being able to record and not be live. So hopefully that takes some of the nervousness out of it. You will be recording the presentations. So, again, don't read from those slides. And I put even another example here. I know someone even mentioned they made some cue cards out of pieces of paper, and their parents helped them as they were recording, were holding up cue cards to help them figure that out. I think that's an awesome, fun idea. And I think parents a lot of times would enjoy being involved in your work. So you may want to hit them up with that or have them sit and listen. Don't worry about messing up. You're recording this. You can always press pause, restart, cut that piece out. I'll go ahead and tell you, Mr. Daniel, when I send these out to you, I mess up probably 3 or 4 times per video, but I use my Screencastify to cut those little pieces out, and it goes straight through, and no one knows the difference usually. So think about those tools when you're making this video. Now, you've created your slide deck. Now it's time to record and present it. All right. You're almost done. This is literally like the last thing. All right. You've gotten everything done. You just need to record it. Once it's recorded, you need to upload the video from your Google Drive to your showcase in your school signature folder. And a reminder, your video does not count as one of your 2 artifacts. You can record presentation in multiple ways, and we're going to look at a few of those. First, you may have a large screen TV, or you may have just a decent sized computer monitor. Or if you don't have those and you're having some tech issues, set up your phone possibly or another device to record your screen of your computer if you wish to be in the picture standing next to it doing this live. This is what this looks like when we were in person last year before we left for the COVID issues and NTI. So this is what it would look like if we were in person. You can still have someone record you doing it this way. And there's lots of different ways to do that. You can do like I'm doing right now. Use a screen recording software to go through your presentation and have your face on the side. You don't have to have your face on the side. We love seeing you and being able to make that connection. So we love to see you on the screen, but we also understand technology issues. Some people may not be comfortable with that right now, and that's fine. All right. Now, I'm using Screencastify for this. There are some issues we think with students using that. There are other ways to record your screen, other little apps and things like that. If you have trouble finding a way to record your screen, just let us know. Reach out to me, reach out to your scorer, and we will work with you to find the method to record as well as possible, especially with this screen recording. And I even believe some mobile devices, if you can get your presentation on your iPad, iPhone, Android phone, or tablet, I think you can actually record your screen and it will record your voice. You could even do what I'm doing on a computer right now with just your phone. I've never done that personally, but I'm more than willing to hop in with a Google Meet or just try to help you figure that out. I'm always loving to learn things, and I would love to help you out with that if that's something that you need to make this happen. Number 3 is kind of like this. If I took the picture out, like we just said, you're recording your screen, but not your face, and that's fine. If none of the options I've talked about so far work with you, tell your panelist scorer as soon as possible. They may be able to schedule a Google Meet where you just pop in and show your slides and talk and walk through them. There could be issues where you just need to submit your showcase and we go through your slide presentations while you talk to us about it on the phone. We can figure out a situation for every student. There should be no student that says, I can't do this because of technology. We will get you figured out and we will make this happen. I promise. So just don't be afraid of asking for help and ask for help. And finally, number 5, once that recording is finished, it goes in your school signature folder of your showcase. And again, that does not count as an artifact. Okay? So, documents recheck. Here is, once you're done, how you know you're done. You should have a showcase that's titled correctly with your 2 best artifacts attached from each success skill folder. You should have your overview sheet completely filled out, and you should have your senior reflection totally complete, and they should be in your school signature folder, and they do not count as 2 of your artifacts. 3, your presentation slide deck should be created and, if possible, connected to the showcase screen or linked somehow. 4, recording your presentation so that your scorer can watch it. And again, if you have any issues with that, let us know. But if you have no problems with the recording, drop that recording in the school signature folder. And then we come to number 5, the very last check mark, crossing that finish line. Contact your panelist scorer and let them know you believe everything's ready for scoring. All right. They have been instructed to let you know if something's missing. Okay. So let's say you thought you were done and you had it all ready, but you forgot to attach your overview sheet. You're not just going to lose points because that overview sheet wasn't there. They will reach out to you and say, your overview sheet's not there. Can you drop that in for me real quick? Or can you share the link with me? We will work with you. But this whole process is what you're looking for right there. Some last minute tips, tricks, and FAQs. Make sure you title your artifacts with a title that makes sense. And there are examples there. I won't read that to you. You might want to create a Google Doc or sheet to kind of catalog or keep track of what's in your folder and why it's in there. When it's time for these defenses, and this is kind of for younger students too, if you happen to be looking at this or you have a sibling, cataloging and keeping track of what you have for years to come is a good thing to help you stay organized. You may have real life products from your courses, artwork, musical performance, projects, experiments, pictures and recordings. Upload them. They're awesome. We love seeing those things. And I will take a moment now. A picture of a paper you wrote really doesn't do much for me, especially when I can go into your showcase and see it and read it. Okay. I don't need a picture of a paper so much, but maybe use a photo or a graphic that represents that picture. For example, very recently, let's say that you are including a paper on social justice. You may have a picture of something from the newspaper or something from online that represents that concept, and then talk to us in detail about your paper. That's what we want to see. Pictures of those things. Make your pictures important and visually stimulating. A picture of a piece of paper that you typed doesn't really help us a whole lot. And, there are better connectors for that, I guess is what I'm going to say. And the last one, a little bit here, ask for help if you need it. We are here. And do not wait until the last minute. And I'm going to say this now. We're wrapping this up. We are suggesting that every senior has this done by the end or by the time we leave for spring break. And there are multiple reasons why. Number one, let's not wait to the last minute. This is a huge grade for every senior. And getting these finished before spring break allows your scorers the time to really get to them before we start back with this virtual hybrid model we're about to go in. Some people may get confused with this new model that we're going to go in. You may be busier. You may be thinking, juggling a whole new, you had your life on schedule, this weird COVID schedule for a while. And now we're starting to get back to, going to school, which days and this and that. It's going to get hectic with testing and AP testing and everything else happening at the end of the school year. Don't wait. Get this done, get your score, and then this is off your plate, and you can say, whoop, backpack done. All right. And every Bulldog can complete this and do this amazing work and wow us. I am surprised and overjoyed every year at the products that our students can create. So Male high school students, let's go Bulldogs. Let's get this done before spring break. All right. If you can't or anything like that, this is still a graduation requirement for male high school. You will need to get this completed. So let's do this now before we get back and get it knocked out. If you have any trouble at all, please reach out again to Mr. Daniel. That's me. And hope you have a great one.